Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Hugely Disappointed podcast. This is Elias, the editor. Just making a quick note. We had some file corruption things happen along the way, and we were actually missing about 30 minutes of Andrew's audio. So near the end of the actual thing, there's going to be a lot of cuts, and it's going to kind of sound weird. Sorry about that. I did my best to kind of make it make sense, but he did actually talk a lot more than I expected him to near the end. So hopefully it doesn't bug you too much, but have fun, and thanks for listening.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Nutcase Show.
I'm a nutcase.
Yes, so am I. My name's Ethan, your resident douchebag. And with me are three beautiful lads. And their names are...
Hey, I'm Andrew. I'm going second this time. Eat it.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Elias.
Wowee. What a wonderful band of dorks we have here. We play video games like degenerate losers, and we talk about them like degenerate losers. And like degenerate losers, we've played games this week. And I guess I'll just go first because I actually don't really have much to talk about. Big shocker. I didn't play a lot this week. Or I did, but it was only across a fewer amount of games than usual. Typically, I usually have maybe 4 games or so every week, but I only have 3. One of which is Hades, which I finally started. And it is really good. Hades is a lot of fun. Action rogue light, Lite. You get like progressive upgrades and stuff that you get to keep between your runs and so forth. But it's a lot of fun. It's really good, very polished. The art's great, voice acting's amazing. I mean, all around it's a phenomenal title. Roguelites aren't really much my thing, but I think Hades does it in a way that really helps make it more interesting for me. Although I'm basically like 10 hours into the game at this point, and I'm kind of starting to get that fatigue where I'm just kind of like, all right, let's finish the game now. But other than that, I mean, it's freaking great. Good game.
How far have you gotten?
I've gotten to the end. I just haven't beaten the final boss. Because he's a pain in the dick, and I'm not going to spoil anything. Why I said that twice. Anyway, not going to spoil the game or anything like that to people. But that final boss is a bitch. And he does like 40 points of damage in like a single attack. So,
Ouch.
It sucks. He's hard. But I'm working on it, and it's really good. Next up, I started, and we all played this this week, and that was Jackbox Party Pack 7. I nabbed that on the Epic Games Store, because they had like the sale where it was like down to like $22, and Epic Games Store had like a $10 coupon for anything $15 or higher. So I was like, shit, I'll just grab Jackbox. So I nabbed it for like $12, which is a freaking steal. And it's really, really, oh man, this is, and I kid you not, the best Jackbox party pack I have ever played. It is the most consistent in terms of quality. There's not a single game in this party pack I do not like. It's great. It's freaking good. It's the best one since 3. In fact, I think it's better than 3. Quiplash 3 is nice. It's more Quiplash. Devils in the Details is a really fun one. Champed Up is hilarious. And then you have Talking Points, and I can't remember the last one. Or it's kind of like it's sort of like picture. What?
The hero one? Did you mention that?
That's Champed Up.
Okay.
The last one is it's kind of like Pictionary, except it's like a single word, but I guess it's kind of a bit like charades, I guess, in a way where like you have like your one thing and you're trying to like, people are trying to guess it or whatever, but they like type it in on their phone, and you only have like preset sentences you have to pick words from and able to try and like formulate together what it is. Or you can take like people's things where you can say it's a lot like this, or it's nothing like this, like an answer that somebody else brought in. And as soon as somebody gets like the answer, obviously they win, but it's on a timer. It's really, really fun. I love it. It's freaking great. This is a great party pack, but as it usually is for Jackbox party packs, it's only as good as the people you play it with. So of course, your mileage will definitely vary. But when I'm playing with the sickest, stupidest, most disgusting people that I know and love in my life, it's a total blast, and I am consistently laughing my ass off all the time. Of course, I have to play with total degenerates and able to really get that enjoyment, but nevertheless, when it's there, it's there and it hits, and it's freaking great. Lastly, I've been going through Black Ops Cold War. I remarked about my PC experience and my relatively negative thoughts on that, but a friend helped me pitch in to nab a digital copy of it on PlayStation 4, because he and I play it together all the time. Shout out to Cody. Right after we're done recording this, I'm going to be playing some Call of Duty with him. So, anyway, and it is really, finally playing it on a console where it, actually looks good, and it runs consistently well for the most part. There's a couple frame dips here and there, which is kind of understandable, but it's 95% of the time 60 frames per second, so, it's just no big deal. It's great. I really do enjoy it. I haven't played the campaign again, but I've been going through multiplayer, zombies, and I've been playing Dead Ops Arcade, which is the twin stick shooter. Dead Ops Arcade sucks. I hate it. It's stupid. I'm trying to play it with a bunch of chaps from the UK or whatever to try and finish it to get the platinum trophy, but
chaps.
Yeah, bunch of they're from the UK. I had to call them chaps. But
yes.
So there's that, but then additionally I've been doing a lot of the multiplayer and the zombies, and one thing I really like is that between multiplayer and zombies, and even Warzone, and even Modern Warfare 2019, you have synchronized progression, so no matter what mode that you play, you keep leveling up, in the same centralized system, rather than having separate leveling systems per modes that Call of Duty used to do in the past. So that's really nice. I certainly like that a lot. The prestige system has additionally been completely overhauled. And it's a bit confusing at first, but I really, I like it as I keep playing it. It's really good. It's a good Call of Duty, which is nice. We've been, over the past couple of years, we've slowly been climbing back up in consistent quality, but it's been baby steps each time, and this is the next step to kind of get Call of Duty back to where it was back the days of Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, those glory days of Call of Duty. We're slowly but surely climbing back up there. Again, it is a slow climb, but we're getting there, and what we have is another really good Call of Duty game, and I don't really have much to complain about, except for skill-based matchmaking. That sucks. If I'm doing really, 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 really good in Call of Duty, I get paired up with freaking tryhards that have diamond camo sniper rifles that are quick-scoping people and running around the map 360 no-scoping people like freaking maniacs. And then I get slammed with a horrible kill-death ratio, and then I get thrown back to the little kids, and then I start slaughtering all of them, and I climb back up there. It's a repetitive process. This is how it's been going, and it's kind of beginning to wear me out. It's like I'm playing ranked mode in normal matchmaking, and it's yeah, not that great. Don't like skill-based matchmaking, but that's my one big complaint with the game. Other than that, it's it's a polished Call of Duty game, so hell, pretty good. But that's everything I've played. I'm gonna pass the buck, and instead of throwing it up into the air like I usually do, I'm gonna go throw it to somebody, and I was gonna say don't take this as picking favorites, but no, I will do this as picking favorites. I want everyone else to be insulted. Elias, I don't know, you talk about video games.
Oh,
hell yes. Good, because I've been expecting that, and I want to get the very big, loud opinion out before my roommate has to go to bed, so this is good. Okay, one second, let me pause that. I finished Danganronpa, and I originally said I would recommend this to people. I don't think I ever will recommend this to anyone. It very quickly threw itself down its own drain and like slaughtered itself in terms of story, in terms of any suspension of disbelief, in terms of keeping the same atmosphere, in terms of its characters, in terms of its even like crime solving mystery murder stuff. It was the dumbest thing I had ever played for the last 7 hours of that game. It was so frustrating, annoying, and I wish I could take back those 7 hours of my life, because that was just the utter biggest waste of time I've ever had in the game, which is saying a lot because I've played some shitty games like Shower with Your Dad Simulator. I had more fun with Shower with Your Dad Simulator than I had with Danganronpa near the end of it.
I will not take Shower with Your Dad Simulator 2015. Do you still shower with your dad? Slander on this podcast.
No,
I don't
I'm
see why
saying
you
it's
need
a
a
good
simulator
game.
for that.
That's a good game. It's a fantastic simulator. Anyway, but yeah, Danganronpa, it basically, it made me so sad because I liked the game. That was the worst part. I liked the game at the start. The beginning was just strong. People had motivations as to why they wanted to kill people. Everything made logical sense. Even though there was a twist in like the mystery, it made sense, and it basically made you review the entire mystery from a different point of view that you didn't expect, and it was so well done. The second one was okay. Like, it was like, okay, cool, it's not as good as the first, but I can't make them have every single one. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And then the final one, it felt like, people are like, oh, this is complex. Just because you add the fact that there are twins and that this whole thing was a fake from the beginning, and like, just because you add a bunch of things does not make it complex. It makes it convoluted, annoying, and just frustrating to play. It didn't make any sense. Characters were not who they acted like anymore. No one's character stayed consistent, except for one character named Byakuya, and even then, they kind of ruined him in the second chapter, and I was like, oh, okay, well now he's just kind of a crazy weirdo, and then he got like normal again. They were not consistent. No one, you couldn't understand how anyone's actions made any sense. So I'm just really mad. That game was a piece of shit. I don't know why people love that game so much, but now my friend and I are gonna go try to 100% that anyway because we're just mad, and then we might play the second game. So that's that, because apparently we hear the second one's supposedly better, but then we looked at the character designs and we're like, oh no, it's gonna be really bad. I don't want to play this anymore, Jack. I don't want to play it. He's like, yeah, I don't want to play it either, but we're gonna play it. So Danganronpa, I don't recommend. It's a solid 3 out of 10. That was bad. That was really bad. I would recommend the first. I would recommend people to try out the first part of it, because the first part of it is so good, and then it just goes down to like shit.
That's a major oof, man.
I know, it makes me sad because I like the game, and I wanted to recommend it to people, but I can't because it's just physically painful to think about what I went through.
I never heard that opinion. I mean, then again, I don't hear a lot of people talk about Danganronpa, but like, and I guess the people I don't hear,
either. And people that and we were looking at reviews, my friend and I, and we both just sat there like, how are these people having these opinions? I'm not one to judge other people's opinions, but some of these were just like, really? You thought that was such a smart idea? It really wasn't. And then like, I don't know. I'm trying not to be like too negative about it, obviously, but like, God, that was painful. Anyway, Danganronpa, I finished that one. I also finished Heavy Rain. That was so much better.
Wow, I've never heard Heavy Rain be talked about against other games and be the better of the stuff that's been played.
Yeah.
So Heavy Rain, I enjoyed. I'm not gonna say it was a fantastic game by any means, but it was enjoyable. It was good. The final scene, and it's basically it's old. I don't think it matters if I spoil a few things. But
has anyone not played Heavy Rain and wants to?
That too.
I own it and plan to play it at some point, but I think I have seen the ending.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's different endings. So okay.
I just wanted to double check. So no, we're good.
I think I got the happiest ending because I saved everyone. It was stressful, which I enjoyed the stress because it was like, make sure I do the right decisions at the right times and everything, and it was like cool. I almost got two of my favorite characters killed, which was Norman, the FBI agent, and Madison. Both by stupid just misinputs on my controller end, and I think that was more the controller than me, and I'm just gonna say that because I'm elite gamer boy. But besides that, I don't know. It was fun. When I finished the game, because I played it in Japanese with the Japanese voice acting. When I finished the game, it did the cutscenes. It did a few like cutscene reviews or something like that with the English voice acting, and I am so glad I didn't do it in English, because goddamn, the Japanese one was so much better voice acted. Jason. People actually, they felt like they had emotion. Like Scott actually felt like a villain the whole time, and I loved it. He sounded so good, and like, you know, it was like this, like, oh, is he bad or is he good, or is he just like kind of in the gray area the whole time, you know? And then there's this one scene where Ethan has to go through this like awful scenario, and like the scream that the man let out in Japanese was just so like, ow. I had to like walk away from the computer for a split second. I was like, okay, cool. That was not what I wanted to hear, but that was so well done. Madison's voice actor, oh my god, her voice actress is so good. I loved her. She actually sounded so good in Japanese. The English one was god awful. I don't know why anyone would have hired her. Actually, but no, she was good in English, but like, I guess poorly casted. Poorly casted is the thing. She was poorly casted. But yeah, besides that, it was interesting. I liked it. Probably 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 overall. I did enjoy. There's definitely plot holy sections, and it got to a point where it felt like I was just doing things to do things. Kind of like there was no real logical reasoning behind some of the actions that were happening. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. So I'm happy that everyone survived, except for the baddie, which was good. And yeah, happy endings. It was a good ending. I got Sean. Sean's live. Yay, Sean. And then besides that, I've been playing a lot, and I mean a lot, of Assetto Corsa and Project Cars 2. Because I finally got myself a sim wheel, and I have been practicing my drifty boy skills. So it's been a lot of fun. And then Rocket League has been there as always. And then I was playing the game of the week that we had given to us last week. Haven't gone too far in that. I've been meaning to play it, but the sim wheel has kind of taken over my life. So yeah, I'm on there. And I'm also trying to catch up on games. So because I finished those two. Those were the two I wanted to finish this week. And then I'm going to probably pick up, I think it's Doom Eternal I'm going to do next and finish that one up. And then I'll be playing, I think, Ancestors, Yakuza 0, Nier Automata, and Tales of Vesperia. So those are all like 60-hour games. Yay. But yeah, anyway, that was my week. Very emotional with Danganronpa. So interesting for sure. I'm going to toss the ball next because Andrew spoke something about Danganronpa. So I'm going to say, Andrew, you're next.
And you're the least favorite of the group now.
Yay. Yay. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
No, I think Ben just won the least favorite now.
No, because my little green thing wasn't showing up. So I thought I wasn't being heard.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that makes sense without context.
Oh, I always hear your voice, Ben.
Yeah.
Always.
In my dreams.
All right, while everyone's sucking each other off, Andrew can go on about the games he played this week.
I only really played Hades myself. Something kind of interesting happened to me. I got super lucky with the drops, and I got this incredibly strong attack. And the first time I got to what's the first boss name? Megara, something like that.
Meg, yeah.
Meg, yeah.
Oh, we just call her Meg.
Yeah, I beat her on my first try, the first time I got to her, and then I got like pretty far into the second like part because I had this really strong attack. It was with the bow and arrow, so I could keep my distance. And I was like, oh my! I think I like really lucked out, and I'm like gonna get like to the end, and no. Did
the Bone Hydra kick your ass or something?
I didn't even get to the Bone Hydra. I was getting a little bit too big for my britches, but and the next like time I went around, I actually died before I got to Megara, so I think I just got really lucky with the drops, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to recreate that. So I think I might be screwed.
So how many hours would you say that you have about in Hades so far? Have you even gone to the Bone Hydra yet?
No, I haven't. I think
Okay, so you're still really early on then.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I'm just gonna let you know now, you're gonna be introduced to tons of different gods throughout the whole rest of the game that are gonna give you so many amazing powers and so forth, and the more weapons you unlock, some of those later weapons are so good. So like, yeah, you will soon become a steamroller in those like opening areas. You really will. Even though, yeah, it is very highly reliant on RNG, you will be getting some amazing drops eventually, and you'll become a force of nature soon enough.
Do you know how many runs you've gone through, Ethan?
Oh yeah, there's
there's a counter.
Yeah, there's a counter. I got it. I don't remember. I think I'm less than 30, maybe like 20 something. Or maybe like 20 before, like below 25, I believe. So like nothing excessive, but nothing, I guess, like
embarrassing.
No slouch either. So
yeah,
but I've only made it to the final boss once.
Yeah, it's a fun game. This annoying thing happened with my, I've been playing on my Switch, and this annoying thing happened where my best controller, I lost the charger for it, and it doesn't take batteries. So I've been having to reuse my old controller, and the A button gets jammed really badly.
Ouch.
Luckily with Hades, though, it's just that stupid, summoning charm, or whatever it is, it's like a little fireball. Like that's all the
that
aim.
Thing, yeah. No, that cast will become your best friend soon enough with the additional upgrades that you can get for it. So,
well, shit, my controller keeps jamming, so I'm screwed.
Its base form is kind of meh, but when you start there are certain gods where like the cast will be amazing. Oh, dear Lord, when you get to Zeus, please take the cast from Zeus if you can, because my Lord, that shit slaps. Or the Huntress goddess, I can't remember her name. There's a certain upgrade that you can get for the cast that it will seek out enemies, and it will even there's an upgrade that it will additionally make it so that when that cast is inside somebody, they're like on top of your normal attacks, there'll be other arrows that'll be shooting out to damage them, like double damage them too.
Oh yeah, that one. That
it's
good.
So good. And there's one other god, I won't say who, but there's one that will even turn your cast into an awesome like laser crystal thing that will track enemies and do a lot of damage to them. That one's really good too. So yeah, no, that cast will become very much your friend, especially in long range encounters. Because to be fair, most of the long range weapons really aren't that great, to be completely honest. I very much have favoritism towards the fisticuffs so far.
Ooh, the fists are my favorite too.
Love them fists, boy. But yeah, anyway, this is Andrew's segment. Sorry to go on about Hades here.
Honestly, like with this initial segments, I like going through all the games and everything, but I wouldn't mind hearing other people's opinions on stuff like that. It doesn't all have to be just one person talking.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I guess I also played the game for next week. I won't get into a big thing about it yet, obviously, but I will say this: where the hell is all of the ammo? I never have any. It's Crafting. Always just the wrench.
Crafting, baby.
Where? How do you craft? Where's the craft option?
They're in they're little object things that you'll see in the environment. They're like big stations where you can take junk items that you have and recycle them. And then there will be another machine that's usually really close by that you can take those items and you can craft ammo out of them as long as you have the blueprints. But I think no matter what, even if you don't have the blueprints, I believe you can at least make 9mm ammo and glue cannon ammo.
Well, I've only seen one of those, and now I'm currently in a place where I don't have any ammo, and I can't get out because I keep getting one shot. So I don't know what to do.
We will have to troubleshoot after the podcast.
Yeah,
because I think I'm almost done with the game.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the achievements that you were slamming on Steam, and I was like, boy, Ben is steamrolling this.
Yeah, I wanted to get in as much time as I could yesterday because I knew that starting this week, I wasn't going to be able to put that much time into mini games because school started and all. I'm doing full-time school and full-time work. So, yeah, it's. I was just treating yesterday as like a gaming binge. I played the game in question for like the entire day.
Anything
and I was
else?
very much enjoying myself.
Anything else?
Is
from
that all
Andrew?
you played? Is that all you played then, Ben?
Yep.
So I guess
well,
that
we're
does
being
it for-
efficient.
Yeah, so I guess
Yeah.
that does it for games in which everyone's played this week.
I guess
pretty
so.
much. Yeah.
All right, so I'll introduce what we're going to talk about today. So in episodes like these, where a longer game will be recommended to play, which I like the idea of this. We'll have like an off-topic discussion. From like if you've been listening to the episodes up to this point, we had a discussion about achievements and achievement hunting. We had another one about like hot takes that we had about the game industry, mechanics in games, and even games themselves. Goodness gracious, I had dinner recently, so I'm belching. Anyway, with that, when we're taking a little extra time and able to go through games and so forth, I like the idea of having an off-topic discussion. So we were all playing Prey this past week and so forth, and we will talk about that on the very next episode. But for today, we are discussing our favorite genres of gaming. Necessarily like 3 in particular that we would kind of like rank out as some of our favorites. And then we'll just kind of go through some examples and whatever, and you know, we'll just kind of like have like, I guess, kind of like a camaraderie discussion of like, oh yeah, no, I love that too, and like, oh, this is one of my favorite genres too, and we'll just talk about games that we like and so forth. It's gonna be a very like messy, very like uncontained, non-scripted discussion. So that's whatever, but that's what podcasts are for. So anyway. I guess to kind of get a format started, as if this is going to follow any particular format, not be a complete disaster, I will, I guess, put the first foot forward on genres in which that I enjoy very much. 3 particular that I absolutely love, and it's really hard to try and like nail these like on like 3 like genres, because I'm very all over the place. There's more genres that I love than ones that I don't. But for me, personally, I would say maybe my 3rd favorite genre of games would be what is known as the immersive sim, which is the genre that Prey is, where they're typically a first-person game, where you are dropped into a very well-constructed, but typically kind of small world or sets of levels and whatever that is all about exploration, that's all about discovering things, and it's a genre of games that makes you think to like kind of break sequence with the game, and you're intended to do so. This isn't something that you're like, oh, I you know, like a normal linear first-person shooter where you just run and shoot, which those games are great, but the immersive sim allows players to kind of think on their feet and craft unique situations on what to do. As an example, Prey, which is my favorite of the immersive sim genre, why I recommended it, one of the biggest strengths of that game, in my opinion, is the glue cannon, which is it'll freeze enemies in place so that you can go and, you know, smack them or get some free hits on them, and they won't attack you. Yeah, but additionally, it's used as a platforming mechanic. And you can shoot the glue cannon in certain places and on walls and whatever to get to areas that you otherwise shouldn't be at, typically, just yet. So playing through Prey for the 3rd time, I've been jumping on balconies and going places like I shouldn't have been, like, you know, for the next couple of hours, but I'm running around in these areas already because like my magical glue cannon and my knowledge of the game and so forth. But additionally, immersive sims very much allow player expression through hard choices and choices that impact. Not necessarily like typical RPG discussion trees or whatever, but like, and not necessarily, oh, kill the person or keep them alive or whatever, but there's some far more, complex stuff to it, although it can be as simplistic as that at times as well. You can save people, kill them, you can do quests, there's intriguing, dynamics that are built between characters and how do you interact with them, and doing certain things at certain times can affect them, and in turn make drastic impacts on the game going forward. It doesn't... nothing in an immersive sim game is without consequence, and I really like that you any single choice that you make, whether you pick up an item in a certain place, whether you talk to this character or not, whether you do this quest for a character or not, will see massive ramifications later on, or even immediately, and you might not even know it at first, and I love that. Some list of immersive sim games that are also fantastic. You got the Deus Ex series. Oh, System Shock 2, baby. Oh yeah, that's some classic PC gaming right there, boy. You've got the original System Shock, BioShock, kind of. It's like baby's first immersive sim. It's very dumbed down from System Shock. I still like BioShock, but when you play what's before BioShock, it's kind of hard to go back, because it's like, oh, it was so good before, and now it's so watered down. Thief is a great example. The Thief trilogy. Games like those, freaking great. That is immersive sims. Since no one has really chipped in or anything, I presume that this genre is primarily one that I've experienced.
Is Dishonored an immersive sim?
Yeah, no, Dishonored is.
Because that's one that's on my list, so to play. It's in my Steam library.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get back into that, because I played it back on the Xbox 360, and I freaking hated playing it with a controller, so, but now that I've got it on PC, because it goes on sale on Steam for like anywhere as low as like $3, it's like, I should finally play Dishonored, and I'll get to it soon enough. Because, I mean, I love Prey, and Prey is made by the same people who made Dishonored, so it's bound to be good. Right. Yeah, Arcane, baby.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, Arcane, what? I know that these guys made another game that I know, but which one is it? And then I just didn't bother to look it up because I was, too busy playing Prey. So, and then, so I just remembered because of you, Dishonored.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, them's immersive sims. We got a number 3 from somebody else. I'll toss the ball to whoever wants to talk about their third favorite genre of the video games.
Puzzle games? Yeah, puzzle games.
Puzzle games. Yes.
Yeah.
I like puzzle games.
Namely Portal. Yeah, I actually haven't played a ton of puzzle games, but upon playing Portal and seeing how much that engaged me personally, I kind of wanted to branch out and try more games sort of in the same vein of where it's not really there isn't any sort of token combat or anything. A lot of games do have sort of a balance between puzzles and exploring and all that, such as Zelda, but with playing Portal specifically is it's really just about the core gameplay loop of solving puzzles in these test chambers and going on to the next one. And I had such a fun time with that. The only game I've played since then where it's a puzzle game is Return of the Obra Dinn. And again, it's not an action-packed game by any stretch, but I find it
usually aren't.
Yeah, exactly. That in fact, I think that would ruin it. Nothing's more annoying than trying to figure out a puzzle in a game while enemies are attacking you at the same time.
You would not like Call of Duty Zombies then.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. So I can't say that I played a ton of puzzle games. I hope that my newfound love for games like Portal and Return of the Obra Dinn kind of incentivized me to play more of them like that. Is there any puzzle games that you guys have played that you would want to recommend?
Yeah, I mean Portal 2, both fantastic games, really good. I'll have to pull up my backlog and see, because I know I've played a couple other puzzle games. Puzzle games aren't necessarily my immediate forte. I'm very picky with them because I'm small brain monkey stupid, and I typically don't have too much patience for games that really rack my brain too much, but there are some out there that really capture it for me. Ooh, I guess you can count Super Hot as a puzzle game, actually.
Oh yeah,
a first-person shooter, yes, but it runs. Time only moves when you do, so it's all about positioning and moving and firing in specific ways and trying to maneuver around an arena with other enemies that are trying to run the area. Very simplistic art style. It's an intriguing melding of first-person shooter and a puzzle game, but it's honestly it's more of a puzzle game than a first-person shooter, though.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and that one's really good. I'd highly recommend Super Hot. That shit's good, especially in VR. Oh yeah, baby. VR, Super Hot.
VR is,
oh yeah.
VR is definitely one of the best ways to play Super Hot, and also to further sell the game to Andrew. The enemies, I mean, since time only moves and you do, you can just sit there and think for a while if you're trying to like strategize like what you want to do. And then if you die, you just get reset to the beginning of the level that you just barely started. So, and levels are usually over pretty quick. So yeah, like it's not super like annoying to have to like, if you need to die to test something out, then you can totally do that.
It's totally bite size.
Yeah. So you just like go through, try to figure out how to best maneuver your way through the little time pocket that you're in, and kill all the enemies or do the thing. So yeah,
if you don't like the first-person shooter aspect of that, the Talos principle kind of is the same with portal mechanics. Well, not really, but like it's just using the things that they give you in very creative ways to get through all these puzzles. It actually links some puzzles together in really cool ways. It's like, oh, if you want to get the extra special version of this puzzle, you got to link every single one of the other puzzles together, and there's a way to solve all of them at once, kind of a thing. So there's a bunch of cool things in it. Yeah, Talos Principle, good one.
Also, as well. I would say Katamari Damacy.
I played that a little bit.
Yeah, boy. I love Katamari. That shit is so much fun. I played Reroll earlier last year, and I like 100%ed it like within like 2 days. I had so much fun with it. It is so goofy and charming and cutesy and also weirdly dark at the same time. But oh man, that's a good puzzle game. And I guess like last for puzzle games for me, it's I gotta shout out Resident Evil. Of course, it's a survival horror game first, but if you've played Resident Evil, especially like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and 7 especially, they're basically like 50-50 survival horror games and puzzle mechanics, especially Resident Evil 1. That shit's a puzzle game more than anything else, to be completely honest.
You remember that one part in Resident Evil 4 where you have to like, there's like 2 daggers or something inside of a house, and you have to like switch places with them? I got that's like stumped me because like there's just like no like tell for it at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I ended up like walking back to the town, I think, and then walking back and.
Resident Evil 4 certainly still has puzzle elements in it, but it's nowhere near as much as the first 3 games, and then later on with Resident Evil 7. But yeah, no. So I guess for me, for puzzle games, I typically don't play traditional puzzle games, like just flat out like, I was going to say Tetris, but I play Tetris. Tetris counts. Shit's great.
Yeah, Tetris
better than
awesome.
sex. Tetris is my jam. So I guess I do play a decent amount of puzzle games, but typically puzzle games that are more than just the puzzle, I guess. They have something a little else to it, which is no slam on puzzle games. Again, it's just, dumb monkey brain for me. Yeah.
All right, want to go to another genre?
let's shoot to Ben.
number
Sorry,
3.
Ben was just about to talk, so give it to Ben.
Oh, okay, yeah. I actually forgot like the list that I put together. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this. I don't have like an official like super hard stance on the ranking, but these are like in my like top 3 favorite genres of all time. And the one that's at the forefront of my brain right now is a 3D platformer. So I'm just gonna go with that. I grew up with 3D platformers. They are my childhood. I grew up playing, the Jack and Daxter games, the Ratchet and Clank games, the Sly Cooper games. To me, 3D platformers are a good way to have like iconic mascot characters explore a unique world, and have like a really fun, like lighthearted story go along with it. Unless you're, Jack 2 or Jack 3, in which case you're weirdly edgy compared to the first one. But
yeah, where Jack talks and he says, "Damn."
He says, "What the hell am I doing here?" Or whatever. In the first one, everyone's like, "Woo!" And you get guns.
Oh, I need to close my door so my parents don't hear.
Yeah, I know, right?
Swear words, don't tell Dad.
He can't say, Jack said the hell word, Dad. Anyway, but yeah, 3D platformers, man, they're a lot of fun. Every single 3D platformer that I've played, I've enjoyed. The most recent one I played through and enjoyed, I think, was A Hat in Time with Andrew.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We played that together, and that was a lot of fun. I don't know what it is, but like every single time I play a 3D platformer, every single one of them is just so charming. I don't think I've played a 3D platformer that doesn't have like some type of like unique charm to it. Because even the try-hard edgy like Jack sequels had their own like little spin-offs to them, and had their own little creative spin to them. Like whether it be the overall world design or Daxter's antics or some of the new characters and whatever. But all of them are just really fun to play. The worlds are super colorful. The characters are usually really unique.
Nice.
And especially with Hat in Time recently, it was just full of a whole bunch of just like small bits of like humor here and there, and exploring different like it was almost like a game that explored different genres in and of itself too.
Yeah, totally.
So,
the first one is like a Mario-esque, like you go to a world, it has a specific mission, but you can like mess around the overworld if you want. The second one is like a sequence, like a story. Then you can affect the ending based on your actions. The third one is like is more you unlock a world in the overworld, but that's just kind of like a side hustle. It's mission based, but like there's a bunch of like stuff that you won't see unless you like. It's sort of like a pick your own adventure. That's the easiest way to put it. It's a pick your own adventure world. That's the third world, and the fourth world is free roam. You can go anywhere and do the missions in any order. So like each world is like a different 3D platformer genre in and of itself, and I think that's really clever.
Yeah, another thing with 3D platformers is that like in comparison to other adventure games, for example, say Uncharted or like Tomb Raider or some ones that try to be a little more realistic, the cartoony nature of most 3D platformers gives it the advantage of having really fluid movement for the most part. Because everyone has played, most people have played the Mario games. I still need to actually give them a fair chance, considering, they're like one of the pioneers of 3D platformer. Yeah. So, the originators, because Mario 64 was the first 3D platformer, I think.
So that was the first like modern 3D platformer.
Yeah, first modern 3D platformer.
Yeah. First one that did it well enough.
Yes, exactly.
We'll put it at that. But as they keep getting developed, all of them keep getting like more and more fluid and like fun to control. So like, because whereas the realistic ones, their movement and their movement and movesets and everything is it's realistic, but sometimes it can seem a little like cumbersome, especially if you want to go places fast. But the cool thing with a lot of these 3D platformers is that your ability to traverse the different maps is pretty flexible. For example, like in Jack and Daxter, you have several. You only have like a handful of different like move sets, but like if you combine certain ones, you can do different things. For example, rolling to get an extra, or do a rolling jump to get like an extra distance, and then like doing the head slam and then jumping at the same time to get an extra height boost, or using like the punch uppercut combo to like get some extra distance on a normal jump if you don't want to roll. And then I hear the same thing's true about Mario. Like you can do a lot of technical platforming just messing around with the move sets.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's a dozen ways to do every star. Seriously, well, at least in some of the later ones. In like Sunshine, it's pretty set in stone. But like, yeah, definitely. But like 64 is actually like, yeah, like look up speed runs of it. It's pretty insane, like the different ways you can go about it. And yeah, Galaxy's a bit more linear, but in my most recent playthrough, I like went out of my way to like try like different ways of going about the levels, and I actually like discovered a ton of different things I didn't know about before, which is saying a lot because I've beaten that game like 5-6 times, and I was still discovering new stuff on my most recent playthrough.
Sick.
Yeah.
I'd give a 3D platformer recommendation to you, Ben, because you've got Game Pass on PC, right?
yes.
I would highly recommend you play New Super Lucky's Tale. That game is on Game Pass.
Okay.
It's like an intriguing combination of Spyro the Dragon and like Mario 3D World.
Okay.
It's a cool marriage of kind of both of those systems. It's definitely a 3D platformer for kids, so it's there's like an optional area at the very end of the game that's like nothing but like really ball crushing challenges. But everything up to that point is really easy going, and you know, it's just like it's fun. It's just a nice like chill out, lean back in the chair or the couch and just play a really nice game. And yeah, definitely. And I think Andrew would also really like New Super Lucky's Tale.
I would say the same for I hadn't time for you to play it, Ethan. If you're into that sort of thing,
I've played a little bit of it.
Yeah, definitely. Very lax game for the most part.
That's another thing that I feel is like a strong point of a lot of 3D platformers, is that they're really chill games to play. Because whereas, you know, with like the super realistic adventure games, you have the cumbersome movement and the over dramatic storylines, and then with you know, games like Dark Souls or whatever, you know, those are some ball crushing challenges, and you're constantly on your toes and you're stressed out and you're trying to like not die. And then, you know, puzzle games for the most part, you're like trying to rack your brain, and then multiplayer first person shooters or whatever, everything's just going a million miles an hour and there's explosions and bullets and blood and everything. But then, you know, with like 3D platformers, like most of the ones that I've played, it's just like a chill out and vibe game. You just kind of jump around the level, enjoy like the cool music, the colorful visuals and stuff. They're usually just a lot of fun, and then you can play them pretty passively. None of them are particularly like challenging, which is, I think, pretty cool. I like it. I like it that way.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I think that is the key difference between 2D platformers and 3D platformers. 2D platformers, yeah, they're also super technical, and like they can also be pretty liberating. However, they're a lot more intense. And like you're always going to one side, and it can be like truly diabolical with like the enemy placement and like the amount of like tricky stuff you have to do all in like a short amount of time. Yeah.
Like the original Super Mario Brothers 2, not the one we got in the West, but what's called the Lost Levels. I hate that game.
Yeah,
that's too much. That's just too much.
Only main series Mario game I haven't played all the way through. Besides the land games on the original Game Boy, because I think I need to emulate those, which I don't know how to do that.
It's so easy. Emulating Game Boy is. I can teach you how to do it. It's so easy. Anyway,
just black and white.
Anyway, for the Mario and the platformers, let's go to Elias for his third favorite of game genre.
Yeah, I had to think like across all of time, because I don't know, I've played a lot of like FPS games for sure, but I don't know if I'd ever call them my favorite, no matter how much time I put into them. So I have on here airplane like simulator, or like arcade style airplane games, flying games basically. And one of my favorites obviously has to be the Ace Combat series. They're all good. Zero is by far the best, but they're all good. I don't know. They're just fun. You fly plane. I don't know. I like them.
Plane go brr.
Play go burr. Missile go pew. You know.
Gatling gun go brr.
Yeah, Gatling gun go burr.
Yeah, I don't have like I don't play many in terms of flight games, especially simulators. I don't have the patience for simulators. So much respect to people who do, but like I again, small brain, monkey stupid over here.
Yeah.
I can't rack my brain around some of that, so I prefer arcadey. But even then, it still kind of racks my brain a bit. Like I'd enjoy some flight modes and like Star Wars Battlefront, like original Battlefront 2, and even the Battlefront 2 from 2017 are pretty good, but they're typically modes I don't play a whole lot. Or even then when I am doing the space battles and say like original Battlefront 2, I usually take the carrier ship, dock in the other person's ship, and I spend the rest of the match on foot just shooting people. So flight games are cool, but yeah, they're not really my thing though. Is anyone else really into them?
Well, the main reason, part of the reason you like it, Elias, is because you want to be a pilot, right?
I wanted to, and then I found out you need 20/20 vision. There's a bunch of other issues, and I'm also afraid of heights. So it's like a good way for me to like
that's
just
one of
experience something I could never do in real life, I guess. Yeah.
That's one of the greatest benefits of like simulators and like video games and stuff. There are like a lot of things that people just cannot do due to like circumstances and things beyond their control. So video games provide a nice way to be able to experience things at least similar to it.
Definitely, especially even if you get like a simulator setup and say you got like VR and a flight stick or whatever. Like, I bet
one of those
you're
like motion chairs or whatever.
Oh, geez, yeah, you feel like you're like there. It's basically the real thing. I mean, I say basically the real thing. Like, obviously, if you crash in real life, you're dead. But
they should add that feature to games.
Yeah,
die in the game, you die in
you
real
just
life.
have like a neural hookup, and if you crash your plane in Microsoft Flight Sim, you're dead.
Yeah. Or even better, your headset explodes. That'd be more realistic.
No, it just has a steel plate in the front of the thing that just crushes you flat if you crash. Turns into paste.
Imagine asking for that for Christmas. It's like, I want to get a flight simulator, but it has to be the one with real death, all right?
Okay,
that's
Timmy,
the ultimate
I didn't
challenge.
like you anyway. You were the worst child I had.
Anything else on flights? Sorry.
Yeah,
I was just about to ask.
A little bit. Yeah, because
I
actually played. Elias had me play Ace Combat Zero on the PS2, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never really had a bunch of a history of playing flight games, but I mean, there's several different flying, like missions and stuff, like Ethan mentioned, in other games. Ratchet and Clank has its fair few space levels, and they're wildly varied in quality. I mean, even Jak and Daxter I think has a few. A lot of first-person shooters that I've played have a few. And then recently, two of our other friends got me into Star Wars Squadrons. Well, they got me Star Wars Squadrons. Can't say I'm really into it, but I played it a little bit. I play it whenever they want me to play it with them. But yeah, I don't know. They're fun, but I just don't think I'd play them like very frequently as opposed to other genres.
It takes a certain amount of like wanting to like immerse yourself into it. I feel like you have to just like that hobby to begin with, or that idea, I guess. The
idea, yeah. So I mean, I've enjoyed the ones that I've played, especially Zero. But yeah, I don't know. Like I do have my eye on Ace Combat 7. I want to play that.
That one's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that I go looking at the Steam store for, because usually when I go Steam hunting or whatever you want to call it, I'm trying to look for new games. Usually the ones that appeal to me are either high concept, like sci-fi or fantasy, or like indie games or something. So yeah.
Nice.
Stuff that's more kind of like universe adventure escapism based in theme.
So does that conclude the flying?
Yes, that concludes the flying.
That concludes the flying. I shall run with my number 2. and it's them 2D beat 'em ups, man. Oh,
Ooh,
dude,
nice.
they have always been a pleasure for me. I love them to death. It's sad because it's a kind of a dying genre. But thankfully we've seen a resurgence over the past couple of years. Streets of Rage 4 came out last year and it was great. Mother Russia Bleeds came out a couple of years ago and that was also really good. We got a re-release of the Scott Pilgrim game coming out, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, that's like one of the best ones ever. I am so excited to play that again. You also have so many other classics. Shit, dude, you got the original Streets of Rage trilogy, Final Fight, the Aliens vs. Predator arcade game, the Simpsons arcade game. There's a lot of really good ones out there, but like my personal favorite, most definitely is, I would probably say it's really close between the Scott Pilgrim versus the World beat 'em up game and Streets of Rage 3. The Scott Pilgrim game is phenomenal in terms of its aesthetics and its soundtrack. It is top notch. The gameplay is also great, but like any other 2D beat 'em up game out there, it is ball-crushingly difficult. They are very, very hard games, especially in their arcade, because they were games that were obviously made to, eat your quarters rather than present a fair challenge. They're very very scam games, but when you play them today, it's no big deal. Especially when you could just like keep retrying. You just have like a score reset or whatever. As long as I finish the game, I don't care. I'm having fun. But yeah, man, so good. Streets of Rage 3 is really great back in the Sega Genesis, and it's also in the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive collection that you can get like everywhere. I think it's like literally any platform will probably have it. I know that there were previous Genesis collections that were like on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I don't know if Streets of Rage 3 is included there, but at least for like the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, Streets of Rage 3 is there. Shit's so good, man.
You play Castle Crashers?
Castle Crashers is really good too. I totally forgot that one. I don't think I've ever actually fully finished it, because that was one I always wanted to play more with friends, and this is one of the things I have with beat 'em ups. They are obviously much better to play with friends, but when you really don't have a whole lot of people to play it with, and you got friends that aren't really into them a whole lot, it's kind of hard to really get the most out of them. But I have a couple friends that do enjoy them, and I do play them with them whenever I get the chance. But yeah, Castle Crashers is definitely a really good one that you do need a good amount of people to play with and able to really get the most out of it. Because that one is also pretty freaking hard too. That one will crush you if you're not careful. Which I guess is a beat 'em up staple.
That's the only one I've played, and it's the great anomaly of my gaming experience, because it's a very cartoony game, which I really like, but it still gave me a headache somehow. That's my great antidote for not getting headaches when I play video games, and it still backfired somehow. And I've always kind of chalked that up to it being a beat 'em up game, and maybe that's just not my thing. Maybe there's like too many enemies on the screen or something, and that's kind of, I don't know, maybe that hurts my head or something. I'd have to give it another shot, but I don't know. Yeah, perhaps.
This is just an elaborate plea for somebody to please play Streets of Rage with me. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I'm down to try too. I actually don't think I have ever played any 2D beat 'em ups.
Same.
Damn, son.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I've seen a lot of like footage of them, but I've just never personally actually played. Oh, I almost knocked my mic off the desk. Actually, never personally actually played them.
Foibles.
I can totally understand if they're certainly not somebody's thing, though, because I'm not going to say they're niche, because they do have a lot of appeal. I would say they're more niche nowadays, because we've, for the most part, obviously, AAA gaming companies have moved on from there. But the indie scene in particular is really, like, keeping the dream alive. Again, Streets of Rage 4, like, I don't think Sega had anything to do with it. It was a totally different company. Ubisoft, like, I guess, allowed for the Scott Pilgrim game to be redistributed because it was taken off of digital storefronts years ago, lost for time, but now it's back, thankfully, thank Jesus. And, yeah, but you get people like Devolver Digital that will still, like, work on this stuff, and you'll even get games like, River City Girls, which, yes, it is on Game Pass. I have not played it yet. I fully intend to. I've actually never played a River City Rampage game before. But this one, because like River City Rampage was always like, oh, the girls have been kidnapped. Now you and a buddy will like play as these burly dudes to go beat up dudes to go save the girls. But the roles are reversed this time around. It's the boys get captured, and now you play as the girls to go run and save the boys. And it looks like a lot of fun. And I think it released like last year, so it's cool to see a lot of these like more niche genres of games that like keep getting that attention to release. Oh man. Also, Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle. Oh my lord. Get some of the best beat 'em up games out there. Also a couple turds, but I think it's called Armored Warriors. I believe that's what it's called. Let me quickly look it up. Armored Warriors. Yes, from 1994. That's in that collection. Oh my lord, that is one of the best beat 'em ups I've ever played, if not the best. Holy shit. You could beat it in like 90 minutes, which is typically like what beat 'em up games typically are. They're usually really short. They're built off of replayability. But you play as giant robots beating up other giant robots, and you can take the parts from giant robots and use them to like make new arms and legs and like attach them so you get new attacks. And it's like so fast paced. It is constantly just like move and just explosions. It is sensory overload. Like if you're prone to headaches and if you're like prone to seizures or whatever, like do not play it. But but if you're someone like me who's like, you know, ooh, big boom, and you love just like beating the shit out of giant robots or whatever, oh baby, oh mwah, masterpiece. And again, that Capcom beat 'em up bundle, so worth nabbing, because god damn it, boy, there's some gems in there. Anyway, enough of me shilling my weirdo 2D beat 'em up games.
I'm gonna say third-person adventure game for me. Specifically third-person, so think your Zeldas and your God of Wars, games like that. Games with, like, it's just sort of everything all in one. Like, you got some puzzles, you got some fighting, you got, like, a bit of a story, cutscenes, like, the whole shebang, really. I'm trying to, like, think, like, what the difference is between, like, the first person and, like, third person for me. Because I vastly prefer third person over first person. Like, Zelda any day over, like, something like Elder Scrolls or, like... Or something like God of War over something like I don't know, maybe like Cyberpunk it, but and I think the reason for that is because I like to if I'm gonna like kind of get immersed in a game personally, I'm the kind of guy to like kind of latch on to other characters that aren't like me, because I like to experience stories because it gives me a viewpoint into somebody else besides me thought process. So like the whole idea of like you're like a very like blank slate character or something, and like you don't even see the character's face and you are the character. Like I've always had such a hard time getting into games like that, because I don't know, I was like, I know myself, I'm boring. I want to experience like a different character or something like that. Plus also a big problem with FPS, like not necessarily first-person shooter, just first-person games in general, to me, is it's really annoying to me whenever, like, an enemy or something is, like, just out of my vision, because you can only see directly in front of you, so you can't... I don't know, it feels like it's kind of limiting your viewpoint, so it's really annoying to me, like, you just get, like, those red arrows or something, and to, like, show where the enemies are, and I always lose track, and then I get hit, and I don't know what killed me. Third person specifically. That's my that's definitely my preferred way of of presentation.
What's your, I guess if you were to like kind of pick some like favorites or whatever of the genre and some stuff that you'd recommend, what would you kind of throw out there?
God of War 2018, definitely. My favorite Zelda games are like Breath of the Wild. Let's see, big fan of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. I'm not as big on Ocarina of Time as a lot of other people are, but it's still a good game. And same with the Majora's Mask. All the 3D Zelda games are great.
Nice.
Let's see, what else is there?
I'm gonna ask while you're thinking there for a second. You ever played any of the Uncharted games?
I have, yeah, a long time ago. I played Uncharted 3. That's definitely another good example of that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Uncharted 3 is the best one, just saying.
Yeah, I really like the
Everyone
blend
says
in that
too.
game of like fist fighting and shooting at the same time. So it's not like completely reliant on like FPSs or whatever. And also it's like fun to experience like the personalities of that game, like Nathan Drake and like all of them. I find that personally a lot more engaging than like I'm just like a pair of hands or something. So if I were to play something like Resident Evil 7 or something, I probably wouldn't like it as much as 4 is my guess. That's just me, I guess. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I tried earlier to explain it, but that's just me. I prefer third person over first person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it's certainly understandable in a lot of places, but I say in a lot of places as if like I'm gonna turn back around and say, "But you're stupid because of this." No, like, no, it's a totally valid opinion. I totally understand.
Would Spider-Man also be in that category? It's kind of
for sure.
okay.
I mean, you already talked about like
superhero
Breath
games,
of the Wild.
like Arkham City and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean,
games like that.
you're kind of more
for
like
sure.
your action adventure sort of thing, because that's typically your third person camera, melee combat or like ranged combat, exploration, some like light platforming elements and stuff like that. That would, yeah, that all kind of like encapsulates the whole thing together. If I can talk, but I'm big dumb.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I suppose that's such like a vast genre, like you could call like pretty much any game like a 3D adventure game, really. Like
That's
I
probably
really,
one of the most
yeah,
it's probably one of the most broad genres.
yeah. Like I like Luigi's Mansion. Does that count? You can't really jump in that game, so it's not a platformer. So, yeah, does that count? Or is it like it's not a horror game either? So I don't know what to classify it as.
I don't know. And then, for example, like like Breath of the Wild is also an open world game,
Yeah,
so it falls into that as well. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more broad genres. A lot of horror games can be classified as third person adventures as well.
Resident Evil.
Exactly.
or like Assassin's Creed. I haven't
it's a
played
third person
that.
adventure game.
Maybe the distinction between me as well, in addition to first person, is like games that like spooge like side quests, just like inane ones that are the same every time, is also not my thing.
Like Radiant quests, like Preston Garvey and Fallout 4. Another settlement needs your help.
Yeah, if it's a side quest, make it different and give me a good item. That's like the only reason I would ever want to do a side quest.
You should play The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I probably should. I probably enjoyed it a lot. Although those games are like kind of hard to get a grasp on the combat, right?
Witcher 3, I mean, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but like it flows really easily. Think of like your normal like X button, normal attack, Y button, heavy attack, sort of thing. And if you like pump down the difficulty, like play it on easy mode or something, it's whatever. So
Yeah, I actually do have Witcher 3 downloaded on my Xbox. I haven't played it, but yeah, I totally could whenever. So yeah, I guess there is no real reason why I shouldn't. Maybe I'll give that a shot tonight or something.
hell yeah. I'm getting more people into games that I adore. I got you guys to start playing Doom, and then I also got with Andrew to boot up The Witcher 3, so my terrible influence is bleeding out on people.
And Prey is getting up there with one of my more favorite games of the last while. So
yes.
So
Really?
yeah,
You like it that much?
I'm really having fun with it. Yeah,
All right. Well, that'll make for a fun discussion.
interesting. Yes.
So then,
We should leave that to
Elias,
the next discussion.
Yes.
give me number 2.
I realize I'm going to switch my list a little bit because I just opened a game. I'm like, yeah, actually, this is one of my top genres of all time. So I'm going to mix in with the airplane stuff, just sim stuff in general, because I was going to say racing and driving simulator games. Things that come to mind are like Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, that whole series. But more on the arcadey side, things like Need for Speed. Oh, dude, the old Need for Speed games, Need for Speed Carbon in particular, that was like one of my favorite games growing up as a kid. I also had a Japanese imported game when I was a kid. That was, what's it called? It's like a drifting game that I really liked a lot. The old Gran Turismo games are really good too.
You gotta play Forza Horizon 2. That shit.
Yes.
That
yes,
shit's
I heard
so
about
good.
that one. I
Horizon
need to go
2 is
back
the
and play that
best one.
But yeah, so racing games are going to go with the airplane, so we'll move that back.
Airplane.
But anyway, airplane. Number 2, bullet hell, like bullet hell games. And then there's a wide genre in here, and this is a genre I feel like is pretty niche. No one that I ever talked to likes it. They are some of my favorites though, just because there's so much going on, and you just don't know what's happening, and you gotta just get into like a flow state of like perfect movement, and it's just so much fun for me. I can't think of any games off the top of my head because they were mostly arcade games that I played when
Ikaruga?
I was growing up.
Have you ever played Ikaruga? That's like the one I hear everybody say is like one of the top of bullet hell games.
I don't think I have, but let me see. I think I had one installed. Let me see. Wasn't it with an A?
That game was on the GameCube, and Dolphin Emulator is a thing. I'm not telling you to do anything that you shouldn't do in the eyes of the law by Nintendo and their stupidness, but you know.
But you're putting it out there. That's a possibility.
It's possible. You could do it if you wanted.
I can't find which game I had played that I was on Steam that I was like, oh yeah, God, I love these kinds of games. But some current ones I've been playing, Nier Automata kind of features that bullet hell-y type of thing for some of the levels and a few things like that. Toho Luna Nights is another one that's more like a side scroller with a lot of bullet hell elements too, which I really like. But then, crap, I can't. There was an old PS2 game that I freaking loved. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it was just bullets everywhere. You gotta dodge.
Undertale could kind of count in a way. I mean, it's obviously far more of a RPG first, but when you get into the combat system, it has some bullet hell elements.
Oh, Beat Hazard. There's one, Beat Hazard. Beat Hazard was really good because it takes your own music and puts it as a background, and it actually creates the attack waves to be based around your music, which is pretty sick. So
Beat Hazard is also like a complete acid trip to play. And
dude, I love it.
Disclaimer: if you have epilepsy, do not play Beat Hazard because
don't play bullet hells if you have epilepsy, just because it's basically that.
Well, especially Beat Hazard because it's just flashing lights all the time. It's such a bright game.
I mean, you can turn the settings down. You can put it down pretty low, but
I'm true. But like that's kind of that's the kind of the allure of the game is it's really flashy.
Yeah, can't fault you there. But yeah, I'm gonna go with bullet hells. Are my second favorite genre of all time.
Wicked.
So yeah, I don't know. Have you guys played any bullet hells that you can think of? Or
nothing fully traditional because I still haven't played anything like Ikaruga. I may or may not have the ROM for that, and I might play it at some point. I guess like the most bullet hell-y kind of game that I've really ever played was just Undertale with those bullet hell type elements.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not much my genre. I mean, I've played games that I guess inspired bullet hell, like Galaxia, Galaga.
Oh, dude, Galaga's great too. Yeah.
Space Invaders, them kick-ass classics, but obviously those ones aren't flinging shit at you at 300 miles per hour, going Mach 10. And you're dashing around like a madman trying to avoid things. So, yeah. I guess that like your shmups is kind of also what we call them, shoot 'em ups.
Oh yeah.
Shmups. I like to call them shmups.
Yeah. So Andrew, anything or no?
I mean, we already kind of talked about platformers. I kind of want to, like, does anyone have RPGs on their list?
I do.
I mean, I was kind of like that,
Yeah.
kind of like with my immersive sim thing, which they're kind of like,
Well-
I guess they are kind of like RPGs, but not like your traditional.
Well, let's talk traditional RPGs then, like your turn-based combat. Have you guys played much of them?
I hate turn-based.
Oh,
Well,
no,
I mean,
I don't. I say I don't like turn-based RPGs, but I like action RPGs.
there's one in
Yeah.
particular. The only turn-based RPG I really ever had the patience for, and it's the hardest game I've ever finished. Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
That shit's oh god, that was the most grueling gaming experience I've ever been through, but I loved it. And it is a turn-based RPG. It's medieval / Lovecraftian human resources simulator, and it's really hard, and it has permadeath. But other than that, turn-based RPGs never really were much my thing, to be completely honest. I'll at some point maybe I'll give some stuff another try, but any like JRPG or anything I've ever played, I mean, like, this shit sucks, and I've like moved on to something else.
Only turn-based games I've ever played and enjoyed and finished are the Paper Mario games and Paper Mario clones. So it is one of the only genres where the parodies of the regular thing far surpass the regular for me, at
More like a
least.
parody's nuts, am I right? Hey.
Hey, yeah. Like, yes, like super easy games. Like, frankly, that's for the best. Grinding sucks. I never want to grind an
Yes.
RPG game. That sounds awful. And the antithesis of fun. Yeah, I've tried like a fair amount. I've tried Final Fantasy. I've tried like this game called Bravely Default. Yeah, they just all are like mind-numbingly boring. Like, I really wish I could like meet somebody that could like try and like give me like can truly convince me of their appeal.
I
And,
thought
like,
we
yeah.
were leading into your number 2 or something.
Oh hell no!
Yeah,
well,
but
we
now
already
that
talked
you're,
about
I'm
platformers.
like,
and,
where did this come
yeah.
from?
Well, I don't think we're gonna bring it up, and it's such a popular genre that like so many people make. It's like, what is it about it that just like keeps us from enjoying it? Like, have you tried one, Elias? Like, have you guys like really tried besides like Darkest Dungeon with like a traditional RPG like Final Fantasy or something, or is it just the prospect of grinding just like keep you away from it?
For me, the way to stick into one of those games is to like the aesthetic of the game as well as the actual characters. If I don't actually care for any of the characters, there's no point in me playing the game and grinding. So there's very few games that like capture me in that regard. I can't think of any like full RPG traditional ones like that
I guess
played, but
I guess I can think of one. I like Pokemon.
Oh yeah, Pokemon. Yeah, that counts.
Pokemon,
yeah,
I think,
for
is
sure.
like the perfect for people like me who typically aren't into that kind of thing. But it's streamlined enough and is easy enough to kind of get the grasp of that it's enjoyable, despite, again, like these kind of like JRPG systems and stuff that typically aren't really much my thing. But I guess, I mean, technically Pokemon is a JRPG because it is a Japanese role-playing game, but it's not like, like your menus have menus and it's walls of text and you're spending 75% of the game menu management rather than actually playing the damn game. But yeah, no, like I've played up to like Gen 4 of Pokemon, and yeah, bro, Pokemon Diamond was my shit growing up, and I still love it. Really good, but I get that's really about it, I guess, in terms of like ones that I've greatly enjoyed. I mean, I guess if we're to keep going on turn-based RPGs, once again, I'll bring up Undertale, which I think does a good job of creating an intriguing turn-based combat system, and again, streamlining it enough that it's, dipshits like me can enjoy it, but also not dumbing it down to a point that it's, suck on binky mode, big goo goo gaga baby game. So, yeah.
I need to recommend Paper Mario sometime. It might be the only RPG, like regular RPG, like you'll ever like. That one and Thousand Year Door, like, yeah, something about them there is just a lot more fun. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe because you get out of battles really quickly and you don't get into that many, and the story's just like really fun and charming, and it's like a really cute art style. Maybe like when I lay it out like that, like, yeah, obviously, I think most people would like it, but yeah. So, it might be the only RPG you guys ever like.
So I've kind of lost track then on who's got their number 2s completed from
I finished mine, yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Elias.
No, I said I finished mine. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, like I said, my number 1 is like platformers or whatever, so we've already kind of talked about that. That's why I brought up RPGs as kind of like a little non sequitur.
Awesome.
Did I mention number 2 yet? I can't remember.
I don't think you did.
What was it?
What has it been? Yeah.
I was just gonna say it's action RPGs.
Okay.
Oh,
And,
we just talked about it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we can segue into that after talking about turn-based.
Nice.
Because I will say that like I haven't played a lot of turn-based. The only ones that I've played were Undertale, and then I played a bit of Pokemon, but even Pokemon I didn't really get into. Biggest thing being random encounters really bugged me, and that's actually one point of Undertale that I disliked. Was the random encounters.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, those are annoying. And I just know that Final Fantasy, especially classic Final Fantasy, is full of them. So I could do without random encounters.
That's funny to me because that's like it's not my favorite, but I'm like, okay, cool. This is okay.
Yeah, they bug me.
You'd hate Dragon Quest. I hear Dragon Quest is even more egregious with them than even like Final Fantasy.
Oof. Yeah, then I probably won't be playing that. I don't know.
In the most recent one, there isn't random encounters. You can run away from the enemies.
Oh, cool.
So there's that.
But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just random encounters make it seem like a lot more tedious to deal with enemies. But yeah, action RPGs. What's interesting is that Breath of the Wild also fits into this as well as much as it does like open world and 3D action adventure.
Fallout New Vegas, baby.
Yeah, so yeah, there's the Fallout games, Skyrim, all of Bethesda's classic mainstays. Open world games like that. Breath of the Wild, I would consider an action RPG, minus the leveling up system, I would say. Dark Souls is a good example of an action RPG. The main reason I love action RPGs is because a lot of them tend to have really big, like thought out worlds and lore. So getting lost in like the new world in like a new world is one of the main pulls of an action RPG. And also it's the fact that you're getting like more powerful as you grow and as you keep going through the game. For example, like Dark Souls, the more enemies you kill, the more souls you get, and then the more powerful you can make yourself. And that's the base of every single action RPG. Pretty much kill enemies, get experience, level up, get stronger until you kill God. And I don't know. It's for me. It's I just really like them because I can get lost in them. They're not usually as overcomplicated as like traditional RPGs. So they're not like. I mean, some of them are, because I gotta admit I was a bit confused with Dark Souls like level up menu when I first looked at it. I was like, okay, what does all this mean? But I mean, now it's just intuitive for me. But yeah, I don't know. Action RPGs for me is one that's up there. I don't know if I'd put them above 3D platformers, but like I said earlier, my top 3 list is more or less like the 3 that I enjoy the most out of everything else, not ranked in any particular order. And action RPGs are just the ones that I thought of next. So yeah, there's just a lot of potential with them.
Hey Ben.
Yeah.
Play The Witcher 3.
Okay. I've been wanting to for a while, but it's just the really long playtime that's longer than most action RPGs is scaring me a little bit. But I'll go into it anyway, probably.
Yeah. No. I
am excited for it. It does look really good.
Oh yeah. I definitely do understand though. Like, I have plenty of friends who've tried it and they've come back to me and they're like, I just can't get into it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, I certainly don't blame you for feeling that way. Like, a shame, like, because I really love it, and obviously I, want to have my friends play it, and obviously I'd like them to like it, when you recommend something, you want them to like it, of course, so, but, like,
yeah, exactly.
no, I get it, though, it's like, I totally understand, because it does start slow, but it picks up steam really fast, and then it's just a roller coaster from there. We were talking about turn-based RPGs actually just a tiny bit ago, and I totally forgot there were another two turn-based RPGs that I played that are actually I quite really like, and I guess I was going to say traditional RPGs because they're not JRPGs by any stretch of the word. They do somewhat fit more, at least in terms of their exploration and so forth, and that would be South Park: The Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, those ones are really good.
Those are
Stick of Truth is a lot better than Fractured Butthole, but Fractured Butthole is still pretty good. It kind of feels like it's a little more. It has a grid-based combat system, still turn-based, but instead of Stick of Truth, where it's just like enemies on the right side of the screen, allies on the left. Select your move and go. You have like your positioning and everything. It feels like kind of like a combination of the Stick of Truth system and like XCOM in a way, except without like cover and stuff like that. But you still have like your percentage dealings and specialized moves and so on and so forth. But in a way, I guess that kind of fits. Additionally, for those traditional Western RPGs, non-turn based combat and stuff. Of course, I mentioned Fallout New Vegas, which still to this day is one of the freaking greatest games I've ever played. Fallout 4. I like Fallout 4 more than Fallout 3. That's a hot take. Yeah, it's much better. I'd recommend it.
I can also agree with that. Fallout 4 was not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be.
It's still not great, but
it's not the
in
best
a lot of
game
cases,
ever. But
it's still
there's a
pretty
reason
shit.
I did put. Yeah, it's not the best game ever, but there's a reason I did put like 170 hours into it because it's enjoyable enough.
I've made like 3 playthroughs of Fallout 4, and I've only played Fallout 3 once. So, and I've played Fallout New Vegas like maybe like 6 or 7 times, and I've been aching to go back into it. So,
I also need to give New Vegas like the actual time of day because I think I played like 3 hours of it, and then I got like distracted with something else when it like barely because a new game came out and I was wanting to play that. So.
Oh, play New Vegas. Play New Vegas first. Wait on The Witcher 3. Play Fallout New Vegas first.
Okay.
You can wait on Witcher. New Vegas first.
I was also gonna say, that. I was also gonna say that the games that we're playing now and like the immersive sim genre is also kind of more or less like an action RPG. Just simply due to the fact that, there's like the leveling up and the big worlds and stuff like that. I mean, immersive sims, I guess, don't really have the biggest worlds like you were saying, but I mean, they're still RPG-esque.
Definitely.
I mean, because I'm getting that vibe from Prey, whereas, Morgan is he's a character, but he's also kind of silent during gameplay. And then same with BioShock. BioShock, like your main guy is a character, like an established character technically, but is more or less silent throughout the whole thing, and you level up skill trees, abilities, that whole thing. Horizon Zero Dawn's another excellent action RPG that I really enjoy.
I guess at this point, it's like basically any game with an upgrade tree system, which like every game has now. That's kind of similar to the third person action adventure sort of thing, because every game and their dog now has a level up skill tree system in it. Far Cry did it with like they started doing it in Far Cry 3. And it's been a staple ever since. The Division, shit, you name a game, it probably has one.
But I think stuff more like I guess Skyrim technically is like has a skill tree.
Yeah, it does
because it's just multiple different skill trees. But I feel for some reason that one is more RPG-esque than BioShock.
It definitely
because
is.
Of the fact that it's open world. You're a completely nameless. I mean, you are the Dragonborn technically, but you're not any really set like character. It's a blank slate. You can just be whoever you want to be. I mean, Skyrim is definitely one of my favorite action RPGs of all time. Simply because it's nostalgia fueled, and also because of the broken charm that it has. And the gorgeous soundtrack, and the fact that like give it throw a couple of mods in there, and it still like graphically holds up to this day.
Very nice.
So,
Is that your RPG spiel?
That is my RPG spiel.
Now it's time for the grand finales. The best of the best, at least for me. And that's got to be the first-person shooter. And not necessarily because of the... What am I trying to say? It's not the most consistent in quality of genres out there, because there are many terrible first-person shooter games I can think of off the top of my head. But the good ones out there are some of the best gaming experiences that you can have. I mean, you've got everything from, again, like, as we were stating before, stuff like immersive sims, or yeah, it's like a first-person shooter in a way, but it's kind of more of an RPG kind of game first, and everything. You got open world first-person shooters like Far Cry or whatever. You've got, shit, dude, like boomer shooters, which are one of my favorite subsects of the first-person shooter, where it's your key
I'm gonna
hunting.
interrupt real quick.
Sorry.
Oh
what?
wait, you were going into it, but I was gonna interrupt real quick and just say, like, what separates like a boomer shooter from like another type of shooter?
Yeah, that's what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Boomer shooters are more built off of key hunting and maze-like level designs and secret hunting and stuff like that, rather than set straight narrow corridor run and get to end of mission. Boomer shooters have people like collect keys to unlock doors, and are usually bountiful in secrets, and are far more skill-based in a lot of places. It's the boomer shooter where you'll see the more circle strafing and more complex game mechanics than, say, something like Call of Duty, where it's run, point, shoot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Call of Duty's run, point, shoot, but, you know, when I play something like Quake, where I could be bunny hopping, circle strafing, going Mach 10, then, you know, whip out the rocket launcher, look down, like, you know, rocket jump, fly up into the air, jump over the enemies over there, fire a bunch of rockets, land down, you know, just skirt through them, run around like a freaking maniac and whatever while I'm trying to grab like a yellow key in a room or whatever. You know, it's this combination of so many great things in there.
It's a combination of a lot of simple mechanics that lead to a complex game.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. So, like, games like, if you're wanting to go, like, full classic, like, old shooter games that would fit into that boomer shooter catalog, Duke Nukem 3D, Doom 2, Shadow Warrior, Marathon, Quake 2, Unreal Tournament, well, not even Unreal Tournament, I guess, like, you know, original Unreal, games like that. But then you also have, like, the revival of the boomer shooters. You get games like Dusk, a Medieval, and in some cases, like, I would even consider Doom Eternal and in Doom 2016 to some extent to be somewhat of a boomer shooter. They're far more modernized, but they still have a lot of, like, plants in their roots and so forth. They still have one foot firmly planted in the past. But, you know, like, first-person shooters can encapsulate so many different types of games, and so many different types of shooters as well. Of course, you got great multiplayer shooters like Rainbow Six Siege, Counter-Strike Go, you've got stuff like that, but then additionally, you'll have crazy shit like Titanfall 2, which is very much about movement and enhanced movement mechanics, wall running, double jumping, slides, stuff like that. And, you know, I could go on all day, every day. It's really hard to pick, like, a favorite first-person shooter, because, again, it's my favorite genre. There's so many great games out there, but, like, essentials definitely to play would be, like, you know, basically anything from the Doom franchise, especially like Doom 1 and Doom Eternal, especially like the 2 to definitely play. That, like, you know, back on that, you know, boomer shooter rampage, you know, definitely played games like Dusk, Duke Nukem 3D, And then, for a more modernized, really cool first-person shooter experience like that, maybe the more cinematic angles, Titanfall 2, and then even like the classic, some of the more classic Call of Duty titles like Modern Warfare or Black Ops and Black Ops 2.
And don't forget Halo.
Oh, most definitely. Of course, my little Master Chief icon with his little Slurpee. You cannot you cannot forget about Halo, man. The series that pioneered first-person shooters on a controller, that really brought that control scheme to the forefront. It wasn't the first to do it. That was Alien Resurrection on the original PlayStation, but Halo Combat Evolved was the first to really, for people to finally like get a grasp of that system. And of course Halo blossomed from there for many great games. Halo 1's really good, Halo 2's amazing, Halo 3's really good. ODST's pretty good, Reach is awesome, then you get like 4 and 5, but the Bungie games are really good, so yeah, and if you're also looking for something that even kind of feels a bit more classic, but also still feels very modern at the same time, it's not necessarily a boomer shooter, can't go wrong with Halo 2 and 3, baby. Not at all. But that's, them first-person shooters. Them's good shits.
Nice.
What about you, Elias?
I want to see if you guys can guess my favorite genre of all time.
I know.
Visual novels.
Oh, what is it, Ben?
I'll let Andrew guess first.
Okay, Andrew guessed hentai, I guess. Which?
Oh, he guessed hentai.
Oh, is that what you're gonna say?
No.
Oh, what? What'd you gonna say?
Rhythm games.
Oh, baby, rhythm games. Hell yeah. Ben is on the money. Hentai's a close second, though. Hentai. I haven't seen a hentai rhythm game. If someone can make that will sell like hotcakes. I had to do some research.
I'm sure there are plenty out there. You just need to look. Just go Steam dumpster diving.
So rhythm
Elias,
games.
it's time to make a game.
You're right. Rhythm games are kind of a niche genre in the West, I'm gonna say. I mean, people have played them. Big titles, obviously the Guitar Hero, Rock Band series, those kinds of things. But there are a few other games that I remember playing a lot of, which were Super Hexagon, which is an interesting little premise on it, where it's like this little centered circle that kind of keeps closing in on you. That's a hexagon shape.
Oh, I've played that one.
And you have to find
that one was really hard.
Yeah, you have to find a way to escape it, but like it still gets faster and faster, but it all falls to the beat of a song. Dance Dance Revolution is another huge thing that happened in the West, at least.
I've also played that.
Yes. So Crypt of the Necrodancer is like an RPG, a top-down rhythm game type of thing. I remember I've always wanted to play it, but I keep forgetting that it exists. And then obviously the new and super famous one, Beat Saber, is like the biggest thing so far, rhythm game-wise in the West. I think it's like the biggest thing so far.
You also got Parappa the Rappa. I've only played a little bit of Parappa. But that was another really big one during the
that was another big one. Yeah.
PlayStation 2 era, most definitely.
But so those are like the main little things that have come in the West. I haven't played all of them for sure, but I have played the Guitar Hero series, Guitar Hero 3 being the best one of them all, at least in my opinion.
Through the Fire and Flames, baby.
Oh, Through the Fire and Flames, baby.
Play that on Expert.
Dude, same.
That was like the number one challenge for every single like elementary kid in our generation.
That was the real proving grounds for, big dick energy in junior high.
As if you could play Through the Fire and Flames on Expert.
It really was.
And like no one really could was the
thing. Nobody could. I don't know a single person that was actually able to do it.
You could play it?
I was so cool. I actually went to Boondocks like every other week and like beat all the high scores on purpose over there. I haven't gone there in a long time, but like, yeah. But yeah, I played Audio Surf, I played Guitar Hero, was really good at Guitar Hero, played Super Hexagon. Sadly have not played Parappa the Rapper, but maybe one day. I played Beat Saber. Beat Saber is actually I've learned one of my least favorites. I think because it deals with 3D space and it doesn't feel the best, and I'll get into that I guess a little bit later.
It's not as precise
it's very imprecise,
say
and
like Osu or Guitar Hero.
I hate the scoring system. It makes absolutely no sense.
I've got one to recommend to you. If you really like games like DDR and Parappa the Rappa, of course you say you haven't played them, but there's a free game. I think you can download it, but you can play it on Newgrounds actually. It released last year. late last
Can
year.
you still play it? Because
Yeah, no, you can. You can. Newgrounds has their own integrated player on their site, so a lot of their content is still playable. It's called Friday Night Funkin'. It's it's a Funkin', not fucking.
No,
Funkin'. Funkin. But yeah.
There's the hint.
But yeah, no, it's
Someone make a porn parody game of that.
it's got your like arrow key sort of thing menu UI system that's a lot like DDR, but it's rap battles and stuff like Parappa the Rappa. You're playing it with a keyboard, so it's a bit weird and the control is kind of a bit wonky to get used to at first, but there's some real like high level expert play of that I've seen. It's not much my thing, but if you're really into rhythm games, and shit, it's free on Newgrounds. Like, there's no excuse to not try it.
But yeah,
I'll shoot a link for it.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, so that's kind of like the West's interpretation, and the West tends to do a lot of trying to emulate real life instruments. I mean, like even the Donkey Kong bongo game, I think there was one like that at one point. You're playing bongos, so they're trying to replicate something real. Japan, on the other hand, is very creative, and they're actually the ones that kind of are still making rhythm games and still creating new ways to play rhythm games, and really pushing like the limits of what rhythm games can be, which sounds so stupid, but they have a whole line of mobile rhythm games, which I have played a lot of. Things like Citus, Arcacia, Demo, Voez. There was a Citus 2 that came out. Muse Dash is really good. It's actually a PC game as well. What else was there? Oh, you have the Love Life Idol series, the Idol Master series, because Japan loves their idols. And then the new game that actually just came out recently, which I have loved playing, Project Sekai Colorful Stage, including Hatsune Miku. So there's a bunch of that stuff. And not just that, but favorite rhythm game that I have yet to play. I know I will love it when I play it, though. There's the Hatsune Miku, what was it called? I forgot the name of it. Where are you? Oh, Project Diva. Hatsune Miku Project Diva. Just basically every Hatsune Miku song you could love in one game, and PlayStation. Perfect. So there's that. But I think my favorite of all time, which was actually made by an Austrian, which is hilarious. It's an Austrian developer who made a Japanese-centric game called Osu. And I think you guys have heard me talk about it before, but that's probably my favorite because it is by far, I feel like the easiest to pick up because it's very simplistic layout. You click the circles when the ring closes on the circle. It's not hard to understand, and it very quickly has a very huge difficulty curve, though. That's the only problem, because you go from very simplistic songs, and the more and more you play, the harder and harder these songs can get. And the difference between one star to the next is literally like months of practice. Getting from one star to the next star is months worth of practice.
Wow.
So I remember at one point when I played the game consistently, I got to like a 7-star performance, which is mediocre in the rhythm game world. I believe I was ranked 20,000th in the world at one point. Out of over 1 million people that play Osu. So yes, I love rhythm games. Yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. I think in America I was ranked around, I think my highest I got was like 4,000 something in America. I was ranked. But yeah, I don't know. Rhythm games are really fun for me because it combines two of my favorite things: high skill level gameplay and music. So basically, it's like I'm playing a musical instrument, and it's just really fun to challenge myself and try to do better each song. And once you beat a song, you can try the next difficulty of it. And I think the reason I love Osu is because it's completely community driven. So every single map you find for Osu is actually community made. And there's a whole system put in place, moderators, people who go through, double check songs. You have to have it looked up by a certain number of people. Everyone has to agree. You have to have a certain number of reviews on it. And there's this whole system judging you before you can get a map ranked, right? And so everything's very well done. Every single map made that gets through to the end and gets ranked are good maps. And so no matter what you do, you always have good songs. And whenever if there's ever a song you want to have on there and you're like, no one's making it, you can make it yourself and go through the whole ranking process and get it ranked, So I don't know, it's just such a cool idea and concept to me, this very, very community driven thing, and everyone for the most part is nice. I used to chat on the forums a lot when I was making maps myself, but it's been a long time. But yeah, I don't know, and I guess this connects me to Japan again, as everything goes back to Japan. Japan loves rhythm games. They still do a bunch of arcade stuff, and I've always wanted to go do the actual arcade rhythm games that they have, because they have some very interesting and weird concepts. They go from generic keyboard kind of setup all the way to like you're playing like whack-a-mole, but the whack-a-moles are the things that are like timed to the rhythm in the game or something, or you have actual set of taiko drums you're playing, or you have there's a cool one where there's this ring that's around the screen and you have to swipe your hands around the ring to the beat of the music. There's just all these crazy ideas that are like not even actual instruments and just rhythm. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know. Rhythm games are my favorite for sure.
Redeem game,
yeah. I'm assuming everyone here has at least experienced Beat Saber or Guitar Hero or one of those more westernized ones, I'm assuming, right? Probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I've personally even experienced Osu, because you had me play it at my house, and my parents walked in when there was a very suggestive screen out, and I haven't touched it since because. Yeah, I don't mess with that.
You can turn those off. I usually have them off because I'm a tryhard nerd, and I like to get high combos. But yeah, I don't know. Teach their own.
I've even played like a tiny bit of Osu because I had like a bunch of weeb friends in high school that were the year behind me, because I was friends with like people younger than me, and they had like external hard drives and they'd freaking play them at school like a bunch of dweebs. And yeah, it was interesting. I haven't played it in like years. It's not my thing, but could imagine, it is certainly very interesting, and can imagine obviously it being a ton of fun.
It's definitely again very particular to the person who's playing it. You have to just like the music and like the rhythmy part of it. So, but yeah, I don't know. What about you, Andrew? Have you played anything rhythmy before? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. Favorite games. Yeah, I think that's Osu's my favorite because the scoring system makes sense. It's based. I think my favorite part is the numbers. The numbers go really, really big in Osu. And it's something I wish the American side of everything did. Because the thing I hated about Guitar Hero was that as you hit notes, you hit a combo, right? And then your multiplier went up with the higher your combo was, but the multiplier would always max out at 8 times. And so then to get a high score was just a matter of not losing the 8 times combo and trying to get the power up thing like constantly. And it was just it got to a point where there's only so much you could do, and you would always hit like this specific high score, and that was a high score. It got to a point where the top 10 were all the same score, and it was just because you got the best possible score. With Osu though, the score is actually based off your combo. So your combo is your multiplier. So you're doing a very long song, you get a 700 combo. For each note you hit at that point, you're getting 700 times the 300 perfect score per the hit. So your numbers rack up very quickly. And then the next one, 701 times your 300 multiplier, etc., etc., etc. And so some marathon songs, you'll see like a 13 million score, and it's incredible. And then you can always add on the higher difficulty settings to it. So you can like make all the notes disappear and hide, or you can increase the speed, double time it, put it up to nightcore speed. You could even, what was the other one? Oh, make the notes smaller, harder to hit, and they appear for less time. So that one's great. That one sucks, but I love it. And there's a few other like sudden death modes or things which can increase your multiplier overall, and so then that's where you can kind of increase that level and everything. And then I don't know, that I love the ranking. You can see where you are compared to everyone. You know exactly your place in the entire world. Like I said, I was 20,000th in the world and somewhere in the 4,000s in America. So it was cool to like try to beat people I didn't even know, but move that number up. So a lot of fun. And then Osu is basically like 4 games in one, because you have your standard Osu playthrough. There's a keyboard version of it, there's a taiko drum version of it, and there's a fruit catching version of it where you catch fruits to the beat of the music. That one's by far my least favorite. It's just weird. It doesn't make any sense. The
I
taiko
was
drum.
gonna say I've never really heard of a rhythm game that worked that way before.
I know, but that's the cool part of rhythm games. You can do a bunch of different things. But the taiko drum one's a lot of fun. I'm not good at it by any means, but it's fun to kind of, if you're getting frustrated in the normal Osu, you can switch over to that, you know. And then the keyboard one, that one is the only people who are crazy play that one, because I don't understand the keyboard layout. It's just so fast and like it just disappears. I can't see anything. Even like the beginning level songs that are like 1 or 2 star, I struggle on in that one. It's so freaking hard. But yeah, I don't know. Osu, best game, best rhythm game. Right.
I think I still have one more genre.
Oh, what is it?
It's a Metroidvania. But I was gonna say, like, one of my favorite things about Metroidvanias is that, like, or the ones that I've played at least, is they manage to feel alive without feeling overly gamey. Because the thing with a lot of 2D games is they tend to embrace the gaminess of like their aesthetic. So they'll most likely be, you know, pretty straightforward. Have a lot of simple mechanics and but like Metroidvanias, it's they can also have like super gamey aesthetics, but the more I guess as the more the indie scene kind of like tries to revolutionize that genre or just tries to develop more for it, it gets more unique. And so now like the modern Metroidvania, where it's like doesn't have to be, like pixel art like a lot of them have been in the past. A lot of them are embracing alternative art styles, and then the maps are getting bigger. The abilities and movements are getting more polished and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just it's a good balance of gamey and like feeling like the world is like alive in like an actual place. The maps are interconnected and sprawling enough that it feels natural. It doesn't feel like, just go from room to room and complete the thing. So I like the interconnectivity of it all. That's what I really like about Metroidvanias, is that, you can explore to the far reaches of the maps and then explore a whole bunch of different areas and biomes and themed locations. And then a lot of them will still intersect and connect with each other in different ways. For example, like in Hollow Knight, if you go all the way across the Blue Lake after you access it for the first time, it goes right back to Forgotten Crossroads at Salubra's Hut and stuff like that. Just minor things like that just give the world a sense of interconnectivity. That's what I really like about the Metroidvanias, and especially good Metroidvanias, is when they have like really clever world design like that. And that's usually what I mean by like when it feels alive, because for example, take Cave Story. Cave Story, it's a game where like you go from like room to room type thing. It's not really like that big of like an interconnected map. I mean, it's obviously not a Metroidvania, so that's obviously not what it's going for. But Cave Story compared to, Metroidvanias, I think I would take a Metroidvania any day because of the big interconnected world.
I hate video games.
Kill me now.
What is this podcast even for?
Living? Yeah.
So I guess this kind of just leads into the ending here. There be the plugs for everybody here. I've got Medium, CBR, Letterboxd, Twitter, Instagram, something else I'm probably forgetting, but that's all linked in the link tree in the description of this podcast, as well as the profile of the SoundCloud page. Yeah.
Yeah.
I joined the hellhole of Twitter again. So
Yeah. Welcome back.
So you can find me at Thunderfellow on that. You can also find me on Letterboxd and Backlogged as well at Thunderfellow.
And then I'm on SoundCloud under EFA. Yay.
That was epic.
Man, we're so good at podcasting.
I'm gonna go kill
We're so
myself
good at doing
now tonight.
outros. That was an epic gamer moment.
See you guys. I'm gonna go play Call of Duty with a friend now. He's been waiting for a while, so I'm gonna go chillax with him through the rest of the night. So y'all have a good night. Thanks for listening. Piss off and die. I love you all.
Fuck
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
That podcast is going to end with fuck you, bye.